The country of Somalia has probably contributed more successful international models than any other country in Africa, which is very interesting since this is a very conservative Muslim country. Nevertheless, when one talks about women like Iman, there's always a sense of pride among Somalis, and rightly so, because these women are more than just beautiful faces. They are women with beautiful, kind hearts who have done so much for their home countries and Africa at large, as well as being good role models in their new adapted homes overseas. And this Somali-born Canadian supermodel is no different in that regard. Yasmin Warsame was born in Mogadishu, the capital city of Somalia, in 1975. She was the youngest of 21 children. Can you imagine having that many siblings? Well, her father had 3 wives. So in 1991, 15-year-old Yasmine relocated to Canada with her mother to live with her older siblings who had moved to Canada earlier. Yasmine studied at Seneca College, graduating with a psychology and social sciences degree. And in the summer of 1997, 22-year-old Yasmine was out with her friends walking in the streets of Toronto when she was stopped by a modeling scout who convinced her to be a model. Yasmine was 5 months pregnant at the time with her son Hamza. Of course, Yasmine was reluctant to agree because not only was she pregnant, but she comes from a very conservative and religious family, and how was she going to convince them that it would be okay to do this kind of job that was deemed incompatible with her culture and her faith? But eventually Yasmine decided that with the money that she could make from modeling, she could change a lot of people's lives, not only people in her family, her relatives, but also people in need back in her home country. So she decided to try modeling. Yasmine's first modeling job was a hair show. Then she did a photo shoot for the Sears catalog. Then after changing her modeling agency and signing up with a new modeling agency called Next Canada, she was sent to Europe. They thought that her look, strong jawline, high cheekbones, and her elegance were better suited for the runways of the fashion capitals of the world rather than just catalog magazines in Canada. After arriving in Paris in 2002, Yasmine was hired by Tom Ford, who was the top designer for Gucci, and Karl Lagerfeld, who was the main designer for Chanel, for their ready-to-wear runway shows. And her career really took off after that. She worked with all the top designers like Valentino, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Dolce & Gabbana, and so on. She also did a lot of editorial shoots for all the top photographers and appeared on the British, Italian, French, German, and American Vogue magazines. Beyond the runways, she appeared on several TV shows. She was a judge on Canada's Next Top Model until the end of the show. Yasmine is an ambassador for a charity called The African Future, which is a charity that delivers medical supplies to hospitals in Somalia and beyond. She has used her platform to raise awareness and funds for various causes, and she also does volunteer work within her city in Toronto, especially with programs that help the youth stay in school and that helps them to stay away from crimes and drugs. She also likes to promote and wear clothing made by local Canadian designers, as well as promoting traditional beautiful Somali attires like the guntino and dira. So Yasmine is married and has 2 children. It seems she got married young, probably around age 20. Like I mentioned earlier, she was already pregnant when she started her modeling career. And she had her second child 17 years later, it seems. So there's a big age gap between the two kids. Yasmine talked about how difficult it was in her early days being a new mom and a model because she had to travel for her job a lot. She had to stay away from her son for an extended period of time, 2 weeks at a time sometimes. And it was very hard emotionally on her. But she credits her husband for making things a bit easier by being very supportive and very caring. So kudos to him. And what's also difficult for her was the fact that she didn't tell her family about her modeling job for 2 years because she was scared that they would not accept it. When she began her modeling job, she was already working at a hospital as an administrator, so her family probably thought she was still doing that job. But one day her sister saw Yasmine on the cover of a magazine in a grocery store. Then she had to tell the truth, and her family was not happy at all. They tried to convince her to quit, and she had to explain that she had signed a contract and she couldn't just quit. And she had to explain to her family that this job would help her, to help a lot of people and to make a difference. So eventually they became very supportive. I think they were able to see that her heart was in the right place. She was not merely motivated by vanity, but a deep desire to help people back home and also in her new hometown in Toronto. And she has proven that through the works that she has done. And she has said that despite choosing a career that's untraditional, she is still a girl who's very much rooted in her culture and religion.